maybe that'll feel fun. But,
yeah.
Okay, hold on a second.
Go for it. I gotta get some vitamins in me.
Okay, it's just still loading. I think.
Oh, there you go. Okay. So it's live, so people can watch it if they want to.
Oh, let me.
Go for it. I gotta get some vitamins in me.
Oh, okay. So let me mute. How do I do this? Let's mute that. Okay. So now hopefully we won't get the sound feedback of my computer on one tab on YouTube and on Zoom.
Ah, I gotcha. So are you doing like a screen record?
No, it's full on like connected to the Art of Processing YouTube channel, and it's like it's a direct connection from Zoom to YouTube.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I just finally was like, wait a minute, I need to cut out this inefficient step.
All these little steps.
Yeah.
I love how you figured that out. I really appreciate you
Yeah.
diving into that, like relate. Some
Yeah.
light.
So, okay. So we want to start now with 3 deep breaths.
Yeah, I am gonna have vitamins too. Let's do 3 deep breaths.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi.
Do you want to go first with a check-in, or would you like me to, so you can take your vitamins?
That sounds great. Yeah. And if you want to check in first, then I can take my vitamins by listening.
Cool. Okay. So okay, there's parts of me that are really, really good and really excited and feel energy and momentum building. Most of me still feels like I'm in the shit. Fucking exhausted. Fucking tired of this. It's surprising. I'm glad I wobble in and out of the God, I fucking hate myself space, and in the why would I ever think that? why does that feel so true when it feels true? Because right, like in this moment, like why does that happen? Why do I think that? I words are still hard. Words are hard. But I guess some of the themes, are remembering this practice that I started last year of, okay, well, what can I do from here, from this particular space? So I've actually done some things from bed that I feel pretty good about doing while my body's resting, and the parts of me that feel like creating are creating. And also like saying no sometimes to myself when I'm like, but I gotta work. No, I really don't. No. I recognize it as a profoundly deep programming that I'm getting into now, that I'm like kind of getting under and unraveling a little bit, but it's, yeah. I guess I just keep trying to ask myself, like, what is it that I need in this moment? And then noticing that when I do have a little bit more bandwidth and another human presents themselves to me frequently they're asking for the same thing that I just needed to give myself. And so I'm practicing this place of sometimes I'm able to offer to them what they're asking for, and sometimes I'm having to say, I want to be there for you, and I can't. Not right now. And that's that's a whole another really deep reprogramming. I know that there's codependency in there, and there's deep fear of being, I don't know, left, you know. It's little stuff, little kid stuff, and teenage stuff, and current stuff. Oh, this was a big one that came through just a little bit ago during a meditation I was doing that I'm really gonna keep feeling into is, you know, I'm really good at recognizing, okay, when I'm really in the shit and I'm crying and I hurt really bad and I hate myself and everything feels really dark, I'm actually reasonably good at going, okay, there's an opposite of this experience and it feels really great. Okay, so that's a connection I've been able to make pretty well. Like it's no longer a challenge for me to go, huh, okay, this fucking sucks ass balls, but there's an opposite. So I just can hold on for this and feel it fully so that the opposite gets to be equally awesome, right? Okay, so that's a direct connection. Finally, today, what landed is the exact same things can be said for like my financial experience, my experience with finances and money and savings and, you know, basic Maslow's needs being met, like all of that. There's also an opposite of what I have been experiencing as well as what I've experienced throughout my life. And so I was like, oh, oh my God, now I really actually I now know like how I can really look at it and go, oh, this is how bad it got. This is how fucking awful it got. This is how like, oh, there's an opposite to that. And I don't quite believe it yet. Like that still feels like I don't know. It's been really fucking bad financially. How is it possible that I'm going to be able to attain the opposite of that? So that's still the biggest part. But there's this other part that's like, yeah, but look at all this evidence we built that we've experienced over and over and over again in a different realm. We now no longer doubt that. So what if? What if the opposite of the financial situation is also available? And the everywhere in between is actually kind of cool too. Because it's all up, you know, from where I've been. So yeah, I was very excited about that to land a little bit ago. So yeah, I'm excited to share some time with you. I look forward to hearing how you are, and I'm glad we're only doing an hour. I probably would have pretty quickly realized I didn't have that much to either, but you said it first, you know, yeah, just do an hour. So yeah, that's me.
Yeah. Can I give you some reflection or should I share? Because
I totally want to. I totally want to hear you, but I also am always curious what your reflections are. Yeah.
cool. Well, first off, you're hitting many of the things that I'm currently working on as well, because that just always seems to happen now. I should just expect it. Especially with the dark thoughts, especially being in the shit, especially this past week.
Okay.
I don't know. I'm connecting back to astrology and all the other like my superstitions coming back in a sense, but it's interesting. Like, oh yeah,
it's a framework. You know, it feels like a supportive framework. So why not?
jumping off point. There isn't there, it's kind of like the extremes of things. You were mentioning like, oh, there's a really low side to it. There's also an awesome side to it too, like really high. And I've been recognizing that I seesaw. So I can be really high and really happy and it drains me. And then I go really low. And so it goes back and forth and back and forth. And that's exhausting.
Yes.
Coming to that middle ground of like peace. The peace is like the absence of things in a sense. It's the relaxation. It's where our body's like, I'm safe to rest. And how much we don't recognize that we need rest or even like fit it into our day. We could think we're resting, but I heard you say you were still doing work while in bed. And a part of me was very judgmental. And I'm like, that's not really resting, honey. And you're also like, how do I get something done? Because we need to get stuff done too. So I love that. I love what you're on. I hear softness. I hear a lot more self-acceptance and self-love. And I love the boundary setting. Thank you. Like, yes, you can't take care of everybody. Not at all. And I feel like you've had to take care of another life for 18 years, 17 years, like in your own and other people's and old partners and all this shit, it's like, and a baby when you were a baby, like that kind of crap. You've been taking care of people for a long time. And I think you have all these wonderful tools for taking care of others that you're totally incorporating in yourself. And it takes time, but like, we're able to see it and you're able to see it now. And I love that. I love how it's slower going than we want it for sure. But it's beautiful to hear you say like, and I can't take care of you. I have to take care of, I want to. And I love that. I want to be like, girl.
Well, and I love your recognition of the seesaw is actually too much. And I realize that piece, that I have that awareness as well. And I usually speak to it, but I think I want to speak to it more clearly, more often, that the journey between the low and the high, every bit of that is also completely worth experiencing, and is absolutely, and you're right, I don't want to be on the high all the time. That's not realistic. That's not what I truly want. What I'm trying to convey there is that there is a continuum, and I've been experiencing this continuum, and I have experienced this and at times, so I know everything in between also exists. Yeah. So maybe that's more the way that I want to speak to it, because the opposite is a little bit much of a swing kind of emphasis or an extreme kind of emphasis. And I know I really don't want to continue to experience my life in the extremes. And in the extreme contrast, mild contrast, fine, that feels lovely, let's check it out. But
well, I love what you said too. It's like the extremes are there. Like we have trauma. There's shit that comes up. Who knows what the world is going to bring us? It's like there's a lot of shit going on. So it's like it happens. Those deep, heavy fucking lows, maybe lows we've never even thought of experiencing before, or that we have. It's there, just like the highs. And like you said, it's not staying there so often. I think there is a listening to our bodies, and we're cultivating that because we've turned it off since we were children. We've had to turn it off at some point and be like, I got to survive. I got to take care of other people. I can't listen to her. I can't be loud and myself, because that's apparently, oh no, it's danger. Like, all of that. We're learning how to cultivate that again. So it's not only all this practice, but we're learning how to listen to our guides that tell us on that gauge and on that level when, oh, we're a little bit too here, a little bit too much here. Let's pull it up a little bit or play with it. And it's like, it's all a part of life. Like it's all the experience. We can't like shut one off or shut the other off or say like, no, we have to be peace all the time. It's like, I love how you said that. Absolutely. Like totally resonate with that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm so glad you shared first. Thank you. Okay. I'll try to make mine pretty brief. This week has been an intense week. Holy bejesus. I've had so much shit come up and epiphanies and like the fuck. Oh, you were mentioning before of like, I can't remember the exact wording that you just said too. I feel like I'm in a more of an emotional state. Maybe I'll backtrack a little bit. How am I in this moment?
How are you?
How am I? tense. I have anger. I have anxiousness, irritability. I'm like, I want to be raw with you, but I also don't want to burn you. Like, there's totally like, how can I be my authentic self without lashing out or redirecting pain and anger? Because I find that's my challenge, to state my boundaries or needs, or what I want to share and be authentic. Like, how does that come out of a place of love when there's hate or anger or something? And it comes quickly. So this whole week, it's been like one thing hit, like, oh, I had to pay $800 for my car. There goes all my money. I'm like broke. So I'm just like, motherfucker. And then I'm also like, and so the anger came up so fucking quickly. I just started screaming. Nobody was home, so I was able to. So it's like this practice of allowing my body to feel, and then just trying to go ahead and what do I do with that? And it was in a state too long. It was like the extreme reaction. It didn't feel like, I felt like I was moving some stuff. Maybe some stuff was like, okay, I'm on the right track. And the other stuff was like, this is more damaging. And I had a somatic like the therapy session afterwards, which was great. And also this fear of like, I don't want to rely on other people, but I also know we have to. As human species, we need to be interconnected. I want to be interdependent instead of codependent. Like you said, I've been looking at codependency this week and been like, whoa, codependent can also be avoidant. The fuck, I'm incredibly avoidant. I'm afraid of love. I'm afraid of getting hurt. I'm afraid of somebody taking advantage of me. I'm afraid of falling into somebody else's life and being absorbed with what they want to do. And I am attracted to like the strong people who know themselves, because I'm like, oh, I want to emulate that. I want to be that. And it's fascinating. It's messy. It's fucking sucks sometimes. I don't like it. I want to get the fuck out of it. I'm like, fuck you, you fucking fuck you, fucking fuck whore. And I also don't like feeling like sitting in that anger place all the time. So this has been cool. I've found a couple of ways. Like, my somatic experience was meeting my inner dragon. And that is my power, my anger. I associated it when I was first diagnosed borderline. So it's like right there. And like listening to her, I climb into the caves of my lungs where she's deep in the bottom. And I know it's really cool imagery that's been coming up. I'm like, oh, fuck yeah. And I have not had time to like, I do art. I'm trying to, like you are saying, like, I just need to get some shit done so I can make some money and survive. And I'm back in that survival mode. And I'm like, motherfucker. And so it's like this pattern. We're in these patterns, and I feel like they're coming up fairly quickly compared to how they have been in the past couple of years. I feel like you're feeling it too. Fuck. And yeah, trying to listen to my body and trying to dance and play and add discipline and I need to do these things because I'll feel better in the long run. Like, not being on my phone in the morning, not being on any digital device in the morning, but I use it as my calendar and other shit. And I'm like, motherfucker. So there's all this like, and then trying to have like self-love. So I imagine my inner dragon is my power, and she's beautiful, and she's also healing. And sometimes the village needs to burn because it's toxic, but also I don't want to burn the forest with it. Like, I don't want to burn everything. It's having this fine-tuned scalpel in a sense. And so I imagine now it's like with the scenarios. You ever have those scenarios that come up that you're just like imagining yourself driving, and then you imagine somebody hits you, or like something awful happens, and then the driver gets out, or like, and he's like all cracked out or something and comes at you, and then you have so much rage, you imagine yourself with a machete and you like chop the fucking shit out and blood's everywhere. You know, like really. And then you're like, I'm driving. That was a violent thought. I don't like thinking violent thoughts. The actual fuck. That shit came up. And what was really cool is I have a playlist now that's like, how do I get myself into a higher vibration? Because I'm so low so often. And I've exercised that muscle. So it makes sense why it's there. So there's a little more compassion. I'm exercising. And so, like you said, with imagery, it's like sometimes I imagine my inner dragon's like, oh, this anger is coming up, this defensiveness. I'm like, imagine it burning the scenario with green light, or the person or the critical thought with green, beautiful flames. And like the phoenix rising from the flames, what's the message behind that critical thought? It's not pushing something away, and it's not diving in too deep. It's kind of alchemizing and it's transforming. And then another one, when I was driving, like the machete fucking smacking somebody up and not liking that, I then said, wait, rewind just a little bit. And I imagine myself with a machete. And then I'm like, what's the other possibility that could come up? What are the other infinite amount of possibilities? And so I imagine the machete. I'm like, okay, let's use my imagination. It's vivid. It's fat. If it can make something that violent, it can make so many other things. That is just one of an infinite number of possibilities. So yes, that is a super big thing. I notice, yeah. So I'm noticing I'm distracted. And oh, yeah, I feel like I want to share something hard. That's hard to share in terms of your response to me.
Okay.
And it feels, let's see, it feels very intense.
Mm.
Um like you're really in the story with me. Like, yeah. And I'm just like, ugh. Like I'm noticing myself pulling back and I want to like bring it up, but it also like I don't want to hurt your feelings and I want you to still be as authentic as you can be.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to practice sharing the stuff that feels challenging, that keeps bubble, like those little things that bubble up, those little bubbles.
Mm-hmm.
Like, am I judging too much? Am I wanting to change your reaction to fit my comfort level? Like, I question myself. And then I also feel like the inner dragon that's just like, you're reacting to something. That's okay. You're human. Like, that's okay. Like, yeah. And then I'm curious how you feel when I say that.
Mm-hmm.
Like, not wanting to stifle you and not wanting to make you feel like you can't be authentic, you know.
Right.
I just went on a fucking detour right there. Sorry, I did not give you any warning with that. Like, I apologize.
Well, I invite you to not feel like you need to apologize, because we really have committed to each other that we've invited this space to be a place where we can practice whatever it is that we feel like we want to practice. Okay. And so what you brought up was there was something about my response that was distracting for you, or bringing up your inner dragon. And maybe if I can just share with you like what was coming up for me, then we can, yeah. um I was basically I felt like I was just hearing you so completely, and I was having so many memories of all of the times similar things have happened to me, that I'm like, yes, you're on the right track, keep going, yes, this is I hear you, I understand, I completely, I feel the same things, and you're saying it so clearly and so succinctly, and I'm just like, yes, my God, this is amazing. So that's what's happening for me. I can totally see where it could be very distracting. And so maybe it's just, I guess I would, it would be very hard for me if your request is sit still quietly and don't respond, sit still
Yeah,
quietly
totally.
and hold yourself together and, keep it all to yourself. Like that would be very difficult for me. But there's lots in between
Yeah.
of, and I want to be able to also give you what feels best to you. It's your time. It's your turn.
Mm. I love that. Thank you. Wow. I think that's been something that's been like sitting with me, and I don't know how to like, there's
Mm-hmm.
shame with how do I deal with it? I feel
Mm-hmm.
like I'm taking other people's own authenticity personally. Like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, it's in, like we impact each other. And it's like, what am I not liking? Or what's the resistance? I love that. Thank you. There's totally a desire to be like, now sit still and
Mm-hmm.
don't respond to me. And I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
I love how you said that. It's like that does not work for you and it feels stifling. And I love that. I have an idea. So a creative idea came up because I find myself very drawn to
Mm-hmm.
what the other person's doing. So this is really cool. So this is oh, this is awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I love how thank you for having the space, because
Thank you.
I just realized I'm like, wow, I'm really caught up and I feel very blamey
Mm-hmm.
about how I'm feeling on the inside. This feels strong. How I'm feeling on the inside that other people have done this to me, or they're doing it to me. They're making me feel this way. Even though I know that thought isn't true, it's almost like that was hiding underneath the carpet. I'm like, wait, I thought I worked on you. Like, I know these concepts logically,
Mm-hmm.
but there's a little like, there's some stuff that I didn't clean out the corners fully. whoa, like a part of me was like, maybe if I minimize the screen and I'm not looking at you or something like that, which I could totally, I'm gonna just do it half size. Oh, there you are. Hi. And I feel like in person, it's maybe different too, but
Mhm.
oh, I love how you said that. Yeah, it's helping like that. I feel like is so helpful, like getting that out of my head,
Mhm.
sharing it with you, even though it felt scary and I didn't want to hurt you,
Mhm.
and having your response or how
Mhm.
that impacted you and how you want to be authentically you. And
Mhm.
I want that. I want you to not stifle yourself. I love that because I love how, that feels like movement. Ah, that's cool. And then that feels like the extreme on the other side, right?
Yeah.
And that's okay. Like,
Hmm.
and another practice is I'm practicing trying to hold it in my hands. Whatever the anger, the thought, I've been listening to Ram Dass and
Mm.
Timothy Leary and
Mm.
Alan Watts and
Mm.
all the goodies.
Still dudes.
So and it's on Chill Step, like Chill Step Ram Dass is fucking awesome. Yeah, that I have a playlist. I'll send you my playlist, and maybe that's
Please.
something we could post on we'll have it in the show notes.
Okay. Yes. And we'll figure out other ways to use that stuff too.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, thank you. Wow.
Thank
I want to
you.
give that a quick second. I hope that's okay.
Please. I think that's an important, I think for our continued moving forward, this is a piece that's really important for us to, even if we don't resolve it right now, to at least know that we're going to come back to it. Because I expect that it's this conversation, I've also felt the same way.
I love it.
And
Oh, that,
figuring out our
yes.
strategies for not squashing each other, but also be able to let ourselves like not get distracted or whatever it is by the other's energy. You know,
Yeah.
I already have 3 ideas just on how to let Zoom help us with that. You know what I mean?
That's
So
fucking cool. Oh, I
yeah.
love that.
Um, so anyway, yeah. So is there, I
Aw.
mean, I guess on that piece, is there any more that you want to talk about that specific thing, or is it something that you want to come back to and you want to go back to your actual like sharing?
If it feels, thank you for asking that. Oh, I just want to say I feel heard, respected,
Mm.
seen. I love how you were honest with me. I feel much more connected to you. And I feel like I'm taking any mannerism that you do way less personally. Like, I felt like I was stuck at this wall. Why am I taking it personally? Why? What the fuck? And then like anger kind of builds. It's like you're putting a dam where the river is. And then it's just like, I don't want to do this today. I don't want to work with her ever. Why the hell did I decide to work with like all these nasty thoughts that I'm like, those aren't true. No, those aren't. Because I do. I love what we're cultivating. Just like you said, the opposite is so true. Like this darkness that festers. It's like I have the idea. It's like we all gotta poop, right? We all gotta get the shit out that clean the toxins. We gotta stop shitting in our yard because then we want to go hang out in your yard. We're gonna step and poop,
Yeah.
and sometimes we're ignoring it or we're like adding to it or whatever. I'm like, what happened to my light?
No, you got dark all of a sudden.
No, I'm just like, how do I work with lighting? There we go. Okay. Yeah. Oh God, thank you. And then I'm recognizing also sharing some of those dark thoughts. I'm like, I didn't actually want those to come out. I felt like they almost like, I don't know, they could have stung. It's almost like spewing my shit. I got diarrhea on you. I'm so sorry.
Can we talk about that for a second, please? Can we
Yes.
talk about
Yeah.
that specific piece. Okay. So the you are not the only woman in the past 24 hours
Oh no.
who has shared
Oh.
with me a piece of themselves that was so scary, or an experience that they've recently had that was so scary, and they felt so much shame sharing it, saying it out loud. Like it was extraordinarily hard for either of these other women to share with me something that's really truly kind of in that realm of darkness and violence and fear and all of that really dark stuff. And every one of them, everybody has said, I feel shame. I'm sorry that I shared that with you.
Oh. That's
Right?
funny. And you share that, and I'm like, oh, those poor women. Oh.
Exactly. And so I cried and cried with the last woman who shared, like who shared those moments of, I just want to die. I can't be here anymore, and I cried
Oh.
and cried. And I'm just like, thank you so much for telling me. Thank you so much for sharing with me. And the reason why I'm crying is because of all the times that I sat in that same place and did not tell anybody and did
And you
it
were
all by
alone in it.
myself. Yeah. And just white knuckled. And then I worry about the other women who are right this moment white knuckling it, thinking that they're alone and that it's unsafe to share these things and that it is a shame, that it is a shame that they must keep to themselves.
Oh, God, I love you.
I love you
Oh,
too.
I feel like that is just even more of a reinforcer of why I think we need to keep this going for fucking sure. Oh,
But a big piece of it is feeling
oh,
safe, right? And you're so right, honestly, to feel afraid to share that, because I know that my experience has been both directly and firsthand experience indirectly, people saying, don't say that.
mm.
You can't talk like that. Don't say talk like that. Like I can't even think of anything else but don't say that and don't talk like that. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And so, how many times have we heard some variation of, if you are afraid of hurting yourself, you better fucking not tell anybody, because something really fucking awful is going to happen. Even worse than
Hmm.
what you're experiencing in this moment, probably, like
Yeah.
the unknown is like even scarier. And
Yeah.
so, instead, can we please create the space, whether it's one on one or somehow, can we create the space where we can say, please, sister, don't keep that darkness to yourself. And yes, it's so loving of you to recognize that it's going to impact me, that I'm going to feel that deeply, and if I if we have created this agreement, this space where it's like, please share yourself with me, then please do it, you know and it's those alone times, those things that we feel like we have to keep to ourselves, that shame, that's what's dangerous, not the sharing with the right person. And I understand that that's hard to figure out, but maybe that's part of what we might be creating here, is not only are we modeling how to have this conversation with a friend, but we're also that other people are having these thoughts and just saying, we want this space.
Mm.
So I know there'll be other women who will say, I want that space too. And how do we, okay, someone knows how to do it.
Yeah.
How to do it, whether it's us or not. You know what I mean?
Oh. Oh, that was so rich. That was so fucking rich. Oh my God. Oh yeah, you're channeling. Oh wow. Oh, dude, dudette, deuteronius. My humor comes in as a self-defense mechanism, and also I'm judging it. Holy shit! Wow, so relevant, so well said.
Thank you.
So what comes up? Something it feels very important. I'm like, I want to sit with that, and it's like uh I felt it feels, I get lost a little bit. So what I want for other people to say to me when I tell them, hey, I'm feeling suicidal or dark, because I literally had that experience where it triggered somebody else, where I felt that feeling. It was like they experienced something where they had a close person die. And of course that brings up the God, no, I don't want that to happen. I don't want to be witness to it. I don't want this person to do that. No, 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 no. And it comes out as like, don't say that. Don't you dare think that. Don't even share it. Like what that person is trying to say is, I don't want you to do that action. And when you spring it up, it scares me because I think you're going to, simply because the idea of we manifest what we say. And that's not always true. I think our intention is more manifesting than our words. Like we could think violent thoughts and not do violent things. If we sit in the violence for a while, it may manifest. But telling somebody this is how I authentically am, that I want to, for me, I'm recognizing, I'm like, it's not that I want to like die. I felt joy in this life. I have flowers on the background on my computer that I'm like, I want to smell those and feel those. And I love that. I just want to end the suffering. I want to stop the suffering and like the continued pain. Like pain is inevitable and suffering is the continued. And you and I have both been working on, and I'm loving your mannerisms right now. This is so much fun. It's like shifted. It's so fabulous. Oh, yes. Oh, all of it. This is so rich and juicy. And so I want to like throw it out there, long story short, for people who don't know what to say to people who have a friend or family member come up to them and say, I'm afraid I might hurt myself, or I have been hurting myself, or I've been planning on how to kill myself, or I want to die.
Yeah.
It's like, though, oh, you feel like you've been there alone. I've been there alone. Like, oh, yeah, let me know if it's too much.
No, it's not too much. I'm letting the energy move through me. So that's why maybe that's part of why it looks big for me. I'm letting the energy move through. So that's why I'm like, please don't make me stop.
Oh, yes, thank you.
But I
Keep
can
doing
make
it.
it
And
smaller if you need me to. Like, I know how.
I want you to be this big and beautiful and seen in your amazing authenticity with everything. Fuck yes, exactly what you said to me. Oh my God, I feel like we need those reflections. We need those, like, you are so valued and wanted. I got like chills popping up. You are so like valued and wanted for me, for like your experience with me, all the things that we've worked through and gone through, and the heavy, we've went through dark moments together. And this beautiful sunshine comes out on the other side. So I would say, like, how I feel maybe that people can respond to somebody who says something that dark
Yeah.
is like just sharing your feelings, like that scares me and I want to help.
Maybe
This is
just
my
breath
feeling
first.
and this is what I do. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe just before you say anything, before you say anything, just go. Oh, wow, that's how you feel, huh? Something like that, maybe.
I love that. That's how you feel. Wow. I love that. Oh, because I feel like you totally pulled that apart a little bit more, like the
Yeah,
slowing
can you slow
down.
down just a little bit?
Ah,
Yeah.
having that space. I think it's challenging too because I feel like maybe you've experienced this too. I've had a lot of experience with dialectic behavioral therapy, which has helped with this. Is having somebody just react right away.
Yeah.
Immediately, the little thought in my head goes, not safe, close off. And then I'm like consoling somebody else because they're either crying because they feel an extreme reaction,
Yep.
or and it's like, it's okay to cry. It's okay to feel scared. It's okay to feel angry. I don't know why both my hands are up. Stop looking at the screen. Uh,
Close
yeah.
your eyes if you want. It's okay.
Mm.
Yeah. It's okay to reduce the input.
Yeah, or even telling somebody like, wow, that's a lot right now. I'm not rejecting you, but I
Yeah.
need some time to feel my feelings.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, like I want you to still be able to talk to me, and I don't know how to deal with this. Even just that honesty and authenticity, or
Mm-hmm.
asking somebody, I don't know what you need. What can you tell me what you need right now? How can I be of help? Or even checking in, be like, I want to hear you. I honor you. I love you. And like, we can't be other people's therapists all the time.
No, and also
No.
I'm noticing I feel really, like what I can hear, guess what's trying to come through right now is like, let me say what I wish somebody had said to me.
Oh, do please. I love it. Yes. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for speaking that.
Like, I can think of one specific example of when somebody responded in a way that it was exactly what I wanted.
Mm.
And so I called her. It was one of my very best friends in college, and I called her and I said, I don't want to talk about it a lot, but I'm just really afraid that I won't make it through the night if I have to be here by myself. Could you please come over? And she said, yep, be there in a few minutes. I'll be there as soon as I can. It'll probably be about an hour. And that's what happened. So that's like one really good example. Another example that I wish would have happened is when I said, I'm really afraid that I'm not safe. I almost walked in front of a truck today and I almost didn't stop. I wish instead the response had been something like, oh, let's take some deep breaths right now. Thank you for telling me that.
Mm.
Thank you for telling me that. And let's please, I just need a moment.
Mm. Mm. Oh.
Even now, as I practice that, I can recognize, like now, like I couldn't a moment ago say what I would want the person to say next. But now I can go, okay, and then maybe they might have said something like you were saying, like, what do you know what you need right now? Or do you know what I can do for you right now? Because I feel like that's important too, because so often when the question is so direct as, well, what do you need? Often don't know.
Yeah.
Especially if I'm really, really in that place. And that's another thing that one of the women said to me specifically is people kept calling me and saying, what do you need? And I had zero ideas. All I knew is I hadn't eaten in a few days.
Yeah.
And I couldn't figure out the next step. And so, yeah, so that's part of it that I think is also the difficulty, that is the fear of somebody saying, I feel afraid for myself, is that there's this also, we receive this expectation that we know what we need. If we did, we would have done it, you know?
Even when we know it too.
Sometimes, yeah.
It's the application part is much, much trickier and harder. There's so many factors.
Yeah. But I think the key there in this piece of this conversation that we've just had is, if I could make any request, if I ever find myself, hopefully not win, but if I ever find myself in that space again where I am afraid for my own safety, that the response I receive be some variation first of, oh, let's take a breath and thank you for telling me. Something along those lines.
Oh, I love that. That is such a huge one. I want to like hold you in this space. My mom was coming out like, oh, honey, oh, I've been there.
Yeah.
I know what that feels like. And there's a reason it feels that way. You're human. There's nothing wrong. There's something coming up. And I've been in that place. I've 100%. And
it sounds like you were in that place recently and it would have been beneficial for us to be able to, or you and someone to have had this conversation that we're having now.
It was cool as I had it with myself. So that's a cool one. I'll give you my playlist, because it's like, if you don't have a therapist, call your dad, talk to your dog. If you don't have a dog, talk to the tree. You don't have a tree, talk to the homeless person under the bridge. Like, that's these lyrics, how it goes. And it's like, and if you don't have anybody, to hold yourself. And it's like giving yourself that hug. That's a EMDR technique where you could tap on both sides. We can put our hands on our heart and our chest and go, oh, that's a universal sign for compassion. It helps access the vagus nerve.
Oh, I feel
Honey,
that.
it's hard right now. Right? Like, it's yeah. Oh. It really, that activates the stuff in our brain, like,
yeah.
right? Yeah. And then tapping, like, absolutely, the emotional freedom technique is incredibly powerful.
And you're right, these are skills, these are tools I have readily available.
And it's hard to think of them.
Available when I'm over there.
Yep. Which is like, I'll do like 30 daily self-care stuff. So I have like 30 minutes of movement, 5 minutes of grounding and check-in, like the stuff that helps keep it up. Also with I feel like you've done a lot of work. I've done a lot of work. Now, sometimes we have those tools automatically pop up, which is amazing. Like, oh, wait, I need a self-care today. You just mentioned that today of like, oh, wait a minute. Pause. It's taken years for it to become automatic. So it takes time, but I think it's, like you said, it's so important. I love your burps. Yeah, like I want to share with you that you said something to me when I was quitting smoking and you and Brian were helping me out. And You told me I'm not afraid of you.
Mm.
When my experience in the past has been, I've this anger, this rage, this like
Mhm.
pain, the suffering, like it comes out and it scares people. And then sometimes no, don't talk to me. Like, like it leaks out at the seams. And then other people walk on eggshells
Mhm.
and they go, oh, hi. Oh, okay. Hi. Like I feel it. I think a lot of, you're very aware of how people, like they're backing off. Like you're just like, oh, I don't want that reaction. But you told me, you were like, I'm not afraid of you. I've been there. And I didn't believe you.
I know.
I did not. And that was so hard, but you were there. And I was like, I got to just try it on like a jacket. I
Mhm.
don't want to wear the wool sweater. It's itchy as fuck, but I got to try it on. That's all I can do. Even if it's 1%, even if it's 30 seconds of trying on a jacket of, hey, let me tell myself I love myself, even if I don't believe it. Let me try that again. Okay, that was enough. Maybe I'll try that again tomorrow. Like those little 1%ers. Oh, like that sticks with me. You said that and that stuck with me so well to the point where I'm like, oh my God, I want to be able to share that with other people. Like, I'm not afraid of you. I still have to honor my boundaries. Sometimes I don't have the bandwidth, but I hold you in love and I'm not afraid of the dark thoughts that are coming up because I've been there. Fuck, that was so fucking healing. Mm.
And so two things. One, I really want to speak a little bit more about what you just said. And two, it's been an hour. So, well, it hasn't actually been an hour. We started a little late. So, I mean,
Yeah.
what time would you like to end? Or do you have a sense of that?
Can we give it 15 more minutes? Thank you for checking. Thank you so much. That was fun because I felt something there too. Like, oh, I should stop talking. Okay, cool. And for me, it's, I'm wanting to end my thought. I'm redirecting that.
Mhm.
So
Right. Whereas I'm trying to honor that we, talked earlier about this only being an hour.
yeah.
And, so I'm trying to honor, but also be open to flowing, but yeah.
Thank you. How does 15 more minutes sound? And then we check
That
in.
sounds good. I feel like that kind of familiar feeling of, God, I really don't want this to be over. And I'm, yeah, my body is starting to feel like I need to lay down or, a clearing or, something. So,
Thank you for sharing that with me. Oh, that
yeah.
sounds beautiful. Okay.
So,
I'm curious to
um,
share.
so a couple of the really bright spots that were coming up for me as you were that little bit you were just talking about. And what I'm noticing is that in not only is there like the playlist of your songs that I'm excited to like that we can put in the show notes and
Yeah.
and we can turn into posts that we share in other places, but I'm also thinking like, oh, okay, so I want to share with you the definition I recently learned of. I believe the term is interdependent healing, I believe was the term
Mm,
used. Um, and that's honestly just a way of describing what we do all the time, this like just listening.
writing it down. I'm not
Yeah,
in.
it's like
Thank you.
full presence and listening, reflection when it's invited, I mean, like that kind of like that is essentially what this woman was describing. Her name is Shannon. She's the one that I told you about earlier in the week that I'm like, I think I found one of our people.
Cool.
And she sings to herself and like that kind of so um so there's that piece that I feel like is really, really important. And again, that also feeds in so much to what we're creating on the art of processing. um there's also the piece of shadow. Azaria, I'll also put this in the show notes. Azaria recently she's been going live a lot lately on her YouTube channel, The Eye Inside. And
Oh, I got it. Yep.
yeah, definitely subscribe to The Eye Inside. I honestly, I rarely catch it live for some reason. I'll get the notification that she's gone live, and for some reason, I'm not rarely available at that same time. But I go back when I can. And one of her very profound messages lately that came through her was about the shadow workers to the front of the line.
Mm,
And
mm.
it's this awareness, and I'm getting really intense shivers like flowing through my body right now as I'm saying this, and remind me that there's a video I made, a secret video that I got to send you.
Cool.
Um, there's awareness that all of the shadow that we are processing as individuals, as well as it's in the collective, is is really moving through like so fucking intensely right now. And that's another reason why it's so important that we start talking about like, you're not alone, honey. Like we really all feel like, so many of us feel like profoundly exhausted and profoundly self-hatred and profoundly like in pain, like all like, and every painful experience in our lives is alive right now. Like that's happening for everyone. And we're not everyone. I don't want to be that blanket, but like there's been an overemphasis on the fucking light workers as part of the message, you know, this emphasis on bring it to the light, or you know, like we're I'm fucking done. Like, I finally see the places where there is, I'm seeing more and more of the spiritual bypassing of the quote unquote light workers. And like, and I know that there are true light workers, and I know that there are true shadow workers. And I feel like I'm afraid that I'm one of them, but I'm also like really knowing, no, here it is. It's finally back. This is what it was. Okay. So that moment that I looked at you and I said, I am not afraid of you. I have been there before. And you didn't believe me, and that's perfectly fine, and that's completely appropriate and fair, you know. But what I know is part of this shadow work that we're doing is by me getting in touch with every variation and shade and version of shadow that I've experienced in my life. I do have direct experience with an extraordinary range of experiences, so that I can look an incredible number of humans in the eye and say, I hear you. I understand. I have been there too. And they'll be able to believe me, because not only am I aware of where I've been, but I'm able to recognize the similarities in where they've been, you know? And then you add on that a whole other layer of the firsthand witnessing experiences that I've had of shadow, or the firsthand reports that I've received from others. So truly, those of us who do have this extraordinary capacity to hold our own darkness, that's been training us to have the capacity to sit with others as they learn to have the capacity for their own darkness. And they can hear us and believe us when we say, I've been there. Because that's so important, because I feel white hot fucking rage when somebody says those fucking words to me, and I know they have no goddamn clue what the fuck they're talking about, and I want to poke their goddamn eyes out and tear out their throat.
Yes.
It's a really difficult place to sit when you're looking at somebody. They're like, you're my friend. I can't tear your throat out. And I actually can't even express to you how rageful I feel in this moment. It's not your fault that you are speaking lies to me.
So well fucking said. Also, my inner dragon gets very excited when you get angry. I love it. I really do.
More of my anger really does need to come out. It's feeling stifled, but it doesn't quite yet feel safe, but we'll work on that. But yeah, I felt so strongly when you were sharing that part, and I'm glad that you got to have the experience of for yourself of, I don't believe you, I'm willing to try. Because really that's all we can ask of another human, you know. Yeah. It's okay. It's actually totally appropriate for someone not to believe me when I say that, you know, especially because if I'm saying that to somebody, I know damn well they've had 5,000 other experiences where someone said, you can talk to me, you can tell me anything.
And then,
yeah. And then those motherfuckers didn't mean it, because they didn't know what the fuck they were opening their doors to, and they really didn't want all of you.
No. So yeah.
Cultivating the community of humans who actually can hold that with you, and knowing the difference, that discernment is critical and crucial.
I love, that was also delightfully juicy. Yes.
And then the rest is the video. Yeah. I'll send it to you. You'll see, I'll send it to you exactly as I've shared it with others.
Okay.
And you'll get, and then after you've received it as a recipient, then we can talk about it as an art of processing thing. Okay, how about that?
Love that.
Okay.
Oh, you said so many juicy bits. Oh my goodness. I also want to share that you sharing your story on Heathersville catastrophe. Can I say that on here? Is that okay?
Yes.
Cool.
Yeah. Please always cross promote.
Cross promote everything.
We're promoting ourselves and other people.
Which I highly recommend to people because I'm having a very slow time following your stories. And a lot of times I get it in person, which I truly enjoy, but I love how you did record it. And it's giving me a way of learning how to record my story.
Which one are you talking about?
All of your stories.
Oh, okay.
Your childhood stories, your working in Alaska, your everything. Oh my God, there's so much. And I love it. You have this beautiful record that people been like, you don't believe me? Totally valid. Look, I have my stuff right here. If you resonate with any of it, I hope that makes you feel more safe and more comfortable. Yeah. Because I think that's important is because we don't know. For me, it's like I'm trying to figure out how do I gauge my sense of self-trust and safety. I want to be able to trust my own guidance. And sometimes it feels off or it's out of fear or whatnot. Like with my whole health shit, I've been studying more and more and more. I'm finding out like I have a gene mutation that actually stops me from processing minerals and other things like that, as well as other people. So my immune system is a little bit lower than others. Yeah. And so I need to look at that also from smoking and sedentary behaviors. I'm just like, the more that I'm looking at something that felt hard to look at within myself, the more I'm learning how this body is. I'm learning what I need and what that guidance is. Oh, but it needs that outside. It needs other people's experiences. It's a give and take. It's this inside outside. It's a cyclical thing that's when we stuck, we get like, I'm told that the miser was my whole theme these past 2 years. I'm like, don't mise, don't hide. That's where depletion comes in. That's where we feel I feel like left out of with money woes and love woes and all this stuff. It's like it's the hiding it and feeling and the shame that holds it in. I would love to do an anger release one. I'm going to put that in the little notes. Yes, and then also I've recorded after my somatic sessions a meditation of getting into the dragon. So I have two of them. One of them, the recording sounds awful, I think. I want to re-record it. And I'm going to try to write the dialogue down so other people can read it if need be. And then on my flower walks, I've been taking pictures of flowers. So I figured those would go great. Or like imagery and whatnot. I'm still working on the imagery. This has given me so much inspiration. So I feel like I'm going to work on it right afterwards. Because I love this. I started off today going, I don't want to. And now I'm like, fuck yeah. This is why we're doing what we're doing. And this is... Oh, thank you for sharing all of you with me. I love seeing all sides of you.
Thank you.
It's so fucking beautiful. Especially like the darkness, the light, all of it.
Oh, that's more darkness where that came from, honey.
Yeah.
Oh. Thank you for being you. Thank you for being willing to engage with me. You were like literally the first person who's been able to engage with me at the level that you and I have engaged lately. That never happened before.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that. And for telling me when like, you're making me crazy. Like you didn't say that, but like, too much energy or whatever. Like, thank you, because there's been so much learning for me from that, because everyone else is afraid to say it, and instead they just run away from me or think that I'm a monster.
Or like for me, sometimes I'll react quickly to that, especially if I don't have the bandwidth or somebody's like, you're a little too much right now. I'm like, and I'm like, well, it makes sense why somebody else is like, I can't tell this person anything. Like, I want to not only work on my reaction, but also practice sharing it as well. And thank you so much for receiving, even though I felt like I didn't. Oh yeah, there's all these thoughts. I didn't put this correctly.
And thank you for showing your whole self. Because by you showing your whole self, I'm able to show more of my whole self, and that it becomes this interdependent healing.
Yeah, where we're taking responsibility for our own self. We're learning how to use our own tools. We have that self time where we're learning how to love ourselves and become our own best friends, loving the hate, loving the ego, loving all of it, and sharing with each other. We're realizing how we've totally practiced on how vital that is, whether it's Samsara, authentic relating, just from our experience, the healing house. Thank you. Thank you for, it feels good to receive and to share. It feels like this beautiful overflowing cup that's cyclical. And
And I know my energy feels much better now than it did when we started, or so
same.
I'm also tuning into to that. And yeah, it feels good to get that shit out.
Yeah. And I always feel like if we sit with it, we work through it. Like
Mhm,
we find creative solutions, we allow it to move.
mhm, mhm.
I hope what we just went through is a good example.
I mean, there's 70 examples in my head going, oh God, if like if so and so, like of course I'm thinking of my daughter so much. Like if she and I could just sit with each other and feel like we could say how I'm actually feeling in the moment, how she's actually feeling in the moment,
Yeah.
and
And I feel like you're
unravel it
also
there.
practicing like honoring her
Yeah.
growing and having space. And I get to witness how hard it is for a mother.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, wow, I really don't know that feeling, but I get to witness you and appreciate it and see you in it. And that's helping me have more compassion for my mom, for sure, and my grandmother.
Let me have
And
more compassion for my mother too,
oh,
as I experience it. And so
like this is much harder than I thought as a kid.
yeah. So when she texted me this week and said, it breaks my heart that you have to take a nap after we talk. And I was like, okay, mom. So I called her. I didn't do this in text. I called her like,
Yeah.
I want to be clear. And I'm sorry. I thought that I shared this when we started talking earlier, the other day, but I have to take a nap after I talk to anybody. I have to go lay down for a while, no matter who it is or what it's about. It's not personal.
Mm.
Yes, some of our conversations are maybe more activating than some that I might have with the lady from the bank, but like either one, I need a break after. So,
And that's valid and human.
and so she's like, okay, so it's like the 4 agreements. Don't take things personally. Yes, mom. Remember the 4 agreements. Yes, please.
I love that she read that. Like that's how my mom got into all this
She
stuff.
brings it up all the time. Yes, it's a good book. Very good book.
Oh, I love how you had that conversation with her and you were able to share with her that. Oh,
Mhm.
cool.
Yeah.
Thank you for practicing your authenticity, you know?
Well, and yeah, and thank you for being along for the ride as I attempt to heal my relationship with my inner mother, as well as my actual mother, as well as with my daughter, and
Mm, I'm happy to witness it.
yeah.
I'm happy to be a part of it. I'm happy to be triggered by it. Maybe not always happy, but I'm grateful for all of it.
Yeah, yeah.
Holy shit. I fucking love you.
Fucking love you. Yeah. So it sounds like we basically both have, pretty solid plans for what we're gonna do on the business end of things for this next week, and you know, um, please, if you see me posting or doing anything that you're like, oh, I feel a little twingy about, a little weird about that, like then let's, just please just fine tune it and let's talk about it. Please just know that anything I'm posting or tagging you in or, sharing or whatever is something that I genuinely feel we've agreed to or at some level, you know what I mean?
I
So
think
please,
so too.
if I'm ever off base there, but
Same to you. Absolutely.
okay.
And when we're trying, it's okay. Uh,
Mhm.
we're perfectly imperfect, as
Okay.
Trevor Hall would say.
And I think that's another big key of what's important. I'm actually kind of making a point of starting to note first draft or early draft, or I might come back and change this. Like I'm literally leaving those sort of notes in things that I'm putting out there now,
Yeah.
and I think the imperfectness is part of our platform or whatever the fuck you want to call
Yeah.
it, our model.
Like
You know?
I'm tempted to be like, this was absolutely lovely. I just want to post it on YouTube.
This,
Yeah.
sure, okay,
Yeah.
I'll make it go public.
I love you. Oh my God. Yes, let's do it.
I'll
Thank
make
you.
it
Oh,
public. And
there
then
we go. No editing. Woo.
yeah, no, I think this would be a good one to. I think this is a perfect example of one where remember I said that we might have full length and maybe we share the full length first or whatever, and then we cut it up, you know, because I don't see Levi till next week. And so I do plan to have a backlog of work for him by next week. And so this one and the last video we made that I said edit ASAP, those are the two I'm focusing on first.
Cool. Oh, I love it.
Mhm.
Yes. Then I'll follow up with any notes. I'm like, ooh, let me know when you're meeting with him. Maybe I can like sit in or say hi, or I don't know if that would
Yeah.
help or not.
Good
Or
idea. Yeah, we haven't set our time yet for next week, so I'll definitely
cool.
let you know. I did realize that it's not going to be reasonable. Well, it might be reasonable, might not, for us to ask him to teach us how to edit, because I remembered he actually bought software. So, you know, we're kind of in the space of probably wanting free software. So,
Yeah.
I can still check with him about it, but that was
Yeah.
a thing I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right.
I know it's like supporting creative. I want to do that, and it's also
Mhm.
challenging, but we're working on it. I love that. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so glad you found him. Like,
Yeah. So yeah, please, if you haven't heard from me about it, maybe by Wednesday, maybe ping me, because maybe I forgot to tell you what time, you know, Levi and I agreed to. But
cool.
um,
I go bing.
yeah. And is Marco Polo available for us to communicate, or is that maybe too much for you right now?
No, I feel like that works. I checked it on Thursday.
Okay.
I didn't check it after Thursday though.
Well, that's fine. I haven't done anything
Okay.
recently.
Perfect. Perfect.
I have a bunch of things that I do want to throw at you, like save the date for my birthday and you know, like I have things
Yes.
that I need to send
If
to you.
it's anything short, text messages work well.
Oh, okay.
I
Okay.
like having the written stuff down because sometimes I'm half paying attention. But if you're just spewing out fabulous thoughts, Marco Polo, and then I can have that space to listen to you. And yeah, I love it. Thank you. Aw.
Okay. You want to take 3 deep breaths and then do a quick checkout?
Yes. Okay.
How do you feel in this moment?
Lighter. A little hungry. Really grateful I came on our call today and I didn't cancel. Fuck yeah. How about you?
I feel excited and yeah, lighter. That's a good word. Really, really energized. Like, oh, I gotta go put this in the description and do this. Oh, I'm so excited. Like, you know, there's a lot that I'm excited about. And I know that I also will rest a lot today. So thank you so much for, still arriving, still showing up, coming as you are, sharing some time with me. It feels very magical and alchemical what we did today. So I'm glad we stuck with it.
Thank you.
Thank
I love you. I
Thank
hope you get
you.
some wonderful rest and you tell everybody to go fuck themselves, fuck off by just saying no. But you're just like, I love you and no.
Yeah, it's more of like, I love you, but not right now. I can't help
Yes!
you right now. Like, I love you, but I can't help you right now. Yeah.
That's so much. I love that because I was like, and then I'm like, I like the soft. No, I like that. That's a nice like.
No, it's nice. It feels nice to receive. Oh man, I really want to be with you. I'm so sorry that I just can't right now. You know, rather than no,
Right,
I'm busy. We've gotten plenty of that.
Oh yeah, and we do that to ourselves. Oh my goodness. I like thank you for asking. Like, because if I want people to ask more, I try to do that as a reinforcer to be like, I can't right now, but thank you so much for asking. Please ask in the future. Like,
yeah. Yes, that's another thing I'm doing a lot too, is thanking people for reaching out, even if I cannot reciprocate with what they're asking for.
Oh.
I'll see you soon.
All right. I love you. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.